Hi friends, welcome back. We're going to be looking at the second day of our program on Power BI. Today is the second session, day 2. Let's do a quick recap on what we had discussed yesterday in the previous session. So we understood what is Power BI. Power BI is a data visualization tool that comes under the umbrella of self-service business intelligence platform. It is a tool that is used to take data from different sources. It has the capability to connect to data from different sources, and it helps us analyze that data and visualize it, create dashboards. Then what are the various products that are there in the Power BI product family? So when you go to Power BI website, powerbi.microsoft.com, under products, you can see that there are a variety of products that they offer. What we are focusing in this training is Power BI Desktop, which is the authoring tool, the tool from where we can create graphs. Then, if you would like to share your graphs in a very secure manner with a large group of audience, you will have to upload them to Power BI Cloud or Power BI Service, for which you need Power BI Pro account. Now, if it is a small group of people that you would like to share your work with, this is fine. But if it's a large-scale organization and everybody in the organization needs to access these reports, then you have to scale up. That is where organizations go for Power BI premium license, which is pretty expensive, but it helps them to cater to all the audience. After you have uploaded your reports to Power BI Cloud, okay, whether you're accessing it from your Pro account or your premium account, once it is on the cloud, you can make use of Power BI Mobile also, which is an app that can be installed onto your phone. And from that app, you can access all the reports that are present on the Power BI Cloud. Okay, so these are the main products. There is Power BI Report Server, there's Report Builder, Power BI Report Builder, a lot of things are there. But these 4 are the most important ones. Yesterday, we also discussed about how to install the tool, how you will check your system information if necessary and install the right product. And we talked about connecting to some common data sources, wherein I wasn't able to show everything that I had planned for. I was able to show you connection to an Excel, connection to a CSV file. So I will show you a few more connections today. And we also got a little familiar with the user interface of Power BI Desktop. So we'll do a recap on this. All right. The agenda for today is to look at connecting to a few more common data sources like MySQL Server, PostgreSQL Server. Because as part of our SQL training, we had learned PostgreSQL. So you might want to know how to connect Power BI to that. How do we get data from PostgreSQL Server here? Okay. We'll also see how to connect to data coming from web, some web page. Then we will get into the details of data transformation that can be done on the Power Query editor. Because we can transform the data and then we can go ahead and visualize it. We have the capability of data transformation also inbuilt into Power BI Desktop. It opens Power Query editor where we can do the transformation. So this would be the agenda for today. Now, without much delay, I will open up Power BI here. Yesterday, I had installed it and you can see the key shortcut. So just by doing a double click on it, it will open up. Now, let's say when it opens up, what happens? We are presented with this screen, right? So in case we have Power BI Pro account and we would like to use Power BI service, we can get started. But we are not interested in going there. So I'll simply close this. And here I am on the home page, basically the report layout, not home page, the report layout. This is the report view. And we have the data view. We have the model view on the left side. On the right side, we can see the visualizations pane. We can see the filters pane. And we can see the data pane. And by clicking on these arrows, we could expand or collapse these panes which are available over here. We have the menu bar and we have a ribbon with different options, various options on the ribbon. Depending on the option that you choose on the menu bar, accordingly, the options on the ribbon will get updated. All right. Now, I would like to get connected to data. So I can just click here on the cylinder or down here. Anything is fine. And then go to more. If you can't find it in this list, you have to go to more. Or if you just click up there, it will show you all the data sources with which Power BI is compatible. So if you're seeing the name of a database in this list, then undoubtedly Power BI is compatible with that data source. Undoubtedly, Power BI can access data present in that data source. There is a chance that you may have to configure a few connections, you may have to install a few connectors, but definitely it is compatible. Okay, so I will first show you how to connect to data from PostgreSQL server. For this, I will open it first of all, okay? It has to be up and running. So let me show you what all I have here on my PostgreSQL server. So anybody who's not familiar with SQL or doesn't know how to work with Postgres, we have a playlist. There was a session like this, which has happened a couple of months ago, where all this was covered. You could watch that, where a lot of concepts of SQL are covered in depth. All right. So I am into my PG admin tool, Postgres server, and I'll activate this Postgres 15 server where I have databases. Training is one of the databases, and under schemas, I have a few tables. Okay, so I have employee table, I have customer table, I have department table, etc. Let's say I would like to connect to this data. Okay. From Power BI, I would like to connect to this data. So I'll go here, get data. It is a database. It is a relational database management system. So I'll have to go under databases where we have Postgres here. Now, if you want, if you're not able to find something, you can even search it. Okay, you can even search it and it will come up. So once I click on that, it will ask me to configure the connection, establish connection to it. So select it and then click on the connect button. The server is a local host. It is present on my local machine, colon, the port number. 5432 is the port number for Postgres. So when you install these servers on your machine, whether it is MySQL server or Postgres, there will be a port number associated with them. During the installation of that particular tool, you will get to see the port number. You just need to remember that. And now which database under this? So as I showed you, I have a couple of databases. One is called Postgres, the other is called training. And I would like to connect to this training data source. And this is case sensitive. If you have TRAINING, where T is capital letter, uppercase, you need to maintain the case here. So I need to connect to training database. Training database that is present on my Postgres server, which is accessible via port number 5432. Now, when you are getting connected to data present in files, you will not see any option called as this direct connectivity mode. But when you're getting connected to data from a server, there are two modes of connection which are available. Okay, import and direct query. So when you select the import button, okay, it means that the data from that server will be imported into the file. Okay, so if the data that you're going to be using is small, not very huge in volume, you can use this option where the data will be brought into Power BI file that you're working with, into that project file. It will be embedded into the file and then reports are generated using that data. However, if you're working with very large data and the memory that you have on your machine and memory that is there in that Power BI file is limited, then importing all the data might not be possible. Or if you are more interested in performing live analysis on your live data, on real-time data, then importing it will not help. So in that case, we can go with direct query. So with direct query, basically, your data will remain in the database itself. It will not get imported internally into the file. However, Power BI will access the data present in the database and create the reports. Okay, so this is like real time, live connection. And those of you who are familiar with Tableau, this is similar to extract and live. Okay, there the terms used are extract and live. Here we call it import, and this is direct query. Now I'll go with direct query. Let's say I just want direct connection with that database and use that data here. Click on OK. So now it's going to establish connection with that particular database in that server, and it will show me the complete list of tables present in that server. And when I click on any table, suppose employee, it will give me a preview of the data. Okay. And you can see nicely it recognized everything. It recognized the column names and the data is neatly organized over here. Let me show you over here also what is the data I have in the employee table. Okay, these are the records. ID, we have just 4 records: ID, first name, last name, age, location, department, and salary, which you can see nicely came here. So if you want to bring data from multiple tables, let us say I want from department also, you can do that. We anyway have department ID here, which is HR department, IT department, so on. Name of the department is here. Yeah, department is there in both places. So if we want, we can bring data from multiple tables and we can even join it together. All right. So I'm happy with the way the data has been accessed, or the way Power BI has understood this data. There is nothing to transform. I don't want to go to transform. So directly I will click on the load button, which will load that data into my Power BI desktop. Now remember, this is direct connection. This is direct query. Okay. However, remember yesterday again, in the previous session, I told you that it will automatically detect the relationships between the tables. You can see department table and the fields from there will show up. And here, if I click, this is employee table. Okay. These are the fields present in the employee table. And these are the fields in the department table. All right. Now, when I go to model view, see, generally here up on the file menu, when we go to options and settings, and then go to options, you will notice that by default, Power BI is configured to automatically detect the relationships, automatically detect the column types, headers, detect the relationships, all these things. That is why it is able to do it. In case you disable these options, it wouldn't do it. It will not detect. So here, if I go to model view, you can see that we have department table and employee table. Now, I would like to take department name from here and create a relationship with department. Okay, department name from here with department. Why did it not auto detect? Because the names of the fields are different. This is department name and this is department. So that is why it could not automatically detect. If the names of the columns had been the same, it would have detected automatically, even this relationship. Okay. Anyway, we'll do a deep dive into the model building and relationships, maybe in the next or in the 4th session. Okay. Now I'll go back to report view. So once I have my data, I have my fields, I can go and create any sort of visualization I might want to. But we are not going to do that yet. Not yet. So that is how you establish connection with data present on a Postgres server. Now, what if I have to connect to data coming from my SQL server? Okay. For Postgres, it was pretty easy. Directly, it managed to help me connect. Now, MySQL, on the other hand, you may have to download some components, additional components. Okay. Now, the beauty here is, if there is any data source in such a way that if you have to connect to it, you need additional tools to be installed or additional components to be installed, some drivers to be installed, or some connectors to be installed. Power BI will give you a proper message like that. And it will even lead you to the place from where you can download and install those additional components. Okay, if your machine already has those components, it will automatically detect and help you connect. Suppose your machine doesn't have those components, then it will lead you to the place, like you see, I clicked on Learn More, from where you can download the necessary installers, the connectors, the drivers. So here we need something called as Windows MSI installer. Only when this is installed, Power BI can connect to MySQL database. So I'll have to download it. You don't have to create any account. You can just click on no thanks, just start my download. And once it is downloaded, we have to run it. Okay, run it and install it. Once you have installed it, now you will be able to establish connection. That is the idea. So if at all you're seeing this message, then you have to follow the path, download the necessary drivers or connectors, and after that, install it. And after installing it, you restart Power BI. Close Power BI and open it again, and then you connect to it. Okay, so I'm not going to install it. It was just to show you that this is how all the help and support is available. All right. Now, finally, I will show you how to connect to data coming from web. Suppose you found some data in a particular website which is very interesting and you would like to analyze it, or for your research you would like to use it, visualize it. You can get data from the internet also. So to get data from the web, again, you can click up and search, or you can click down here on the arrow, and web is there under the common data sources. Under common data sources, we have web. So I'll choose web, and it will now ask me to give the link, the URL. So I have one URL which I took from Power BI help site. Okay. So this gives you information about certain details about the states, the crime rate in those states. I'll show you. Okay. So basically, best states to settle down after you have retired in the US, I think. So now that the link was provided and I clicked on OK, it's going to establish connection with the data on that website. Meanwhile, let me show you the website also. This is the website. It has some images, it has some text content, and it also has some charts as well as information in tabular format. This is a table here, right? Retirement factor and average importance. So quality of life, housing cost, healthcare, crime rate, things that people should take into account when they decide to settle down. Again, there is another table, I think, down here, the ranking of the states. There's another table, ranking given based on home value index, based on well-being index. So there are multiple tables, cost of living, clinical care. So quite informative data we have here. Now look at this. It has already accessed the information, and when you click here, you get a preview of the data here. You get a preview of the data here, like this. And this is table view. If you go to web view, it will also give you an idea about how the data is present on the web page. Let's go back to table view. Now from here, you can choose whatever tables data you need for your analysis. I want data from this particular table, so I'll select it. As long as you don't select it, you can notice that the load option is not active. Transform action is not active. As you scan through the pages, by selecting each table over there, it just gives you a preview of the data. I just get to know, okay, what is what. But in order to load this data into Power BI desktop and work with it, or to transform the data through Power Query Editor and then to work with it subsequently in whatever sequence, right? I'll have to select the table by clicking in this checkbox. So once I click on the checkbox, this is data and it's pretty huge. Violent crime offenses per 100,000 population, state and local tax burden, average temperature, cost of living index. We have nice, very interesting data over here. So now I'll click on load because I'm pretty happy with the way the data is present over here. Okay, I don't have to transform anything. I'll directly click on load. When I click on load, it's going to bring the data, of course. Okay. Now, because we are bringing data from a website, it's giving us this particular message, but I'm okay with it. I know that I can access this data. There's no problem with that website. Okay, so this is my report view where I now have access to table 1. Let me minimize these, collapse them. This is table 1 where I have all the fields and I can go and understand the data. Okay, I can also go and see if it has been related to the other tables. There is no relation required, right? Because that was a completely different scenario. The data that I bought from Postgres, this is a completely different one. I don't want to create any relation here. So I'll go back to report view. Now, after coming here in your data view, when you notice that certain things are not read properly, or if you feel some changes are necessary, okay, you can go back and you can click on transform data. Click on transform data. It will transform the data, meaning it will open this data in query editor. All right, just because we didn't use the transform button initially, it doesn't mean we can't use it subsequently. Wait a moment, let me click on this table. In the data view, I have my table. So I'll go here and click on transform data. So, okay, here. See, we have 3 tables, right? Or queries. The right term to use here in Power BI is queries. So these 2 tables came earlier and this is table 1. Okay, table 1 is the one that I brought from the web. So you can see the data types assigned. What are the different data types here? If it is a whole number, it is assigned like this, 1, 2, 3. It is a whole number. So places where you have text information, the data type is assigned as text. Okay, now places where you have decimals, this is the data type. It means it is decimal. Now there is also something called as fixed decimal number. There's not much difference between the two. If you go with fixed decimal number, you can go up to 4 places of decimals. It will store up to 4 places of decimals. With decimal number, it can go, I don't know the precise length, but it is much more. Okay, how many ever places you have, it will be stored. Here it is 4 decimal places. Now, if you have any field that is holding percentages, like percentage of tax burden, state and local tax burden, this is also automatically recognized as a percentage, which is another data type in here. And other data types that we have are date, date and time, only time, time with reference to the time zone also, duration, and then Boolean data, true or false. So these are all the data types available in Power BI. All right. So I'm happy with it. I'll just close and apply. Actually, did not make any changes here. Just wanted to show you that it's possible to transform the data at a later point of time also. Even if you initially don't choose the transform option, you can always go back and transform it. Now let me go to my report view and go to this table. So this table is something to which I made a direct connection. This was a direct query. Okay. Storage mode direct. Okay, now when you make direct connection from time to time, if you want, you can go ahead and refresh your data also. So automatically it will happen, but if you want from time to time, you can even go ahead and do incremental refresh and all that. All right, so this is storage mode here. Storage mode. Now please focus on this area here. On this area here, okay? Let's focus on this area here. I had made a direct connection with the data in the database, right? Ideally, it would have shown direct query. Earlier, it was showing. Now, because I went and came back, it's changed. So if you would like to change the storage mode, you can click on the storage mode and you can change it. Okay, switch all tables to import. Suppose I say import. It's going to not make a direct query, rather it's going to import the data. But these changes that you make, they might actually be permanent changes. So you need to be careful before doing this. All right. So that was about connecting to various data sources. This is full screen mode. Yesterday, someone was asking me, how do I open it in full screen? Basically, generally, we always work with this kind of a view. We always work with this kind of a view where we have the ribbon, where we have all these things. But if you want to go to full screen mode, you can click on the bottom right corner. It's fit to page basically. And these views can be accessed from, I think here also. All right. On my screen, it's not expanding. Okay, I think this is good. This is good. Okay. So let me see if you have any questions. All right. Until this point of time, if you all have any questions, let me know in the chat. I will check now. Otherwise, we will proceed to data transformation. Okay. No, I didn't use any data. We have not yet started any hands-on activities, isn't it, Samir? I'm just showing you that you can connect and all that. Nothing more than that. Now I will start with the hands-on and we'll share the file with you all. I need to share it with the team who will subsequently share it with you all over here. How can we get local server port? You need to go to that server and you need to access. But most of the ports, Nidhi, are fixed. Most of the port numbers are fixed. So for example, when you're installing Postgres, always the port number is 5432. Sometimes it might be 5433. So when you're installing Postgres on your machine, you need to know the port number. You need to make a note of it. So if you install MySQL Server, then the port would be 3306. So most of them have fixed port numbers itself. Right? You need to go to that respective tool and you need to figure out what is the port number. Okay, where to download and how to download Power BI? Yesterday, I explained it in detail, Neetu. I request you to go through yesterday's recording and very nicely, step by step, I have actually installed it on my machine and showed it. So please refer to day 1 session for that. You want the website link? All right. Okay, anything else before we proceed with data transformation? I'll send the website link in a moment. Would you teach DAX? Yes, we will be covering DAX also to the extent possible. How to download Power BI? That is what, na? Neetu Kumari, please go through day 1 recording. It is there. Okay, please go through day 1 recording for that. This is day 2, right? When you this is happening right now. So day 1 recording is already there. Can we take any website info like that for analysis? We can take. Yeah, any website data you can take for analysis. Lot of links are there. JSON files, I haven't tried, but we could check. JSON also support should be there because JSON is the most common file type. So you just search for it and you should be able to connect to it. Here, JSON. Okay, so you can connect to JSON files also. Okay, Kichunai, yeah. All right, so I hope all the questions are answered. So I'm proceeding, okay, moving forward now. So the agenda, one part of our agenda for today is done, connecting to common data sources. Next part of the agenda is to start looking at data transformation on Power Query Editor. Now the file that I will be using, basically the hands-on part will start full-fledged from here on. But the file that I'm going to use today, I have not yet shared with the team. My apologies for that. I will make sure that it reaches you by tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow's session, we will give you the link to the file. Here I'm on Power BI desktop and I would like to make connection to an Excel file. So I'm going to choose Get Data and choose Microsoft Excel Workbook. And I have one data called as sample data, countries sample data, which I will use. So I'm beginning with the concept of data transformation now. This particular file that I have has two worksheets in it. It has information for some countries, certain information. Then it has a sheet which is basically blank. Now, whichever data I might want to use for my analysis and subsequent visualization, I'll have to select it by clicking on this checkbox, right? Because if I don't select it, the load or transform option will not be active. This is what I need. And now I'll click on transform data because clearly this data has not been read properly. There are some errors, some certain things are supposed to be handled over here. So I'll click on transform data. What will this do? It will load the data into the query editor. And on query is nothing but a table. These are all the tables which are active right now in my query editor. And I'm working with countries of the world data. This is the name of the query or the table. Yesterday, I told you that if you change the name here, basically you can change the name of the table by either changing it over here or by doing a double click here and then editing the name. Okay. So here you can see under applied steps, certain steps are already applied. Okay. So first is source. Now, when you click on this gear icon, or you click on that settings kind of an icon here, right? When you click on that, it will show you what the step is. So this was basically the source that I got connected to. If you might want to change your connection and connect to a different file, you can browse and do so. Okay, you can browse and do so. I'll cancel it because this is exactly what I want, the file. Then we have navigation step. Now, when I click on navigation steps gear icon, you see it's showing me the list of sheets present in that file. Let's say by mistake, I connected to a different one. So I can change it to whatever I might want. Okay. If there are multiple tables or multiple sheets and you have to change to a different sheet, you can do it by going to the navigation step. I'm not making any change here. Promoted headers, it automatically applied. It's saying that it automatically promoted the headers. Now, I don't know what it did, but I don't want this. So I'm just going to close it. I don't want it to promote any headers. All right. So just two steps I have taken. Source I have taken, and I'm connected to that particular sheet. Now, you can see that the first three rows at the top don't really have any data. There's some problem with this data, the way it is being read. I don't want these three rows. So how do I remove a certain number of rows? How do I remove a certain number of rows? And this red color here, this red color is basically an indication that this column contains errors. You see there is an error here and there's an error here. So when I click on that, it will tell me what is the error. The error is in the Excel sheet, there is invalid cell value, NA error is there. Okay, that is the problem. So come back here. I'll show you. Okay, so you see this NA error here in the file. NA. Because of this error, which is already present in the file, the column is showing you errors because errors are there in my underlying file. And I can't do anything about those errors. Let's say I just don't want those records which are into errors. Remove the records. So we can remove them. So first of all, my focus is to remove the first 3 rows. So up here, we have an option called as remove rows. We can remove top certain number of records, bottom certain number of records, alternate rows, duplicates, blank rows, or the ones with errors. In this case, I want to remove top rows. So I'll click there and remove the top 3 rows. Okay. So the 3 rows at the top are gone. And you can see a step got inserted there. Now, I wanted to recognize these headers, the first row as the header. So we know that we should use this option, use first row as headers, and they are promoted. See the step, promoted headers. Next thing is this column which contains errors. I want to remove all those records which are into errors. So I selected the column. I'll go up here and I will say remove errors. So 2 rows which had errors are gone. Like that, you have an option to even remove blank rows. Okay, here we don't have any blank rows. Errors were there, I removed. And then you can notice that these 2 are duplicates. Purposely, I put it there. Okay, and these 2 are duplicates. The same record getting repeated. Purposely, I put the data over there. Okay, so that I can show you that we can remove duplicates. So I'll go here and click on, first of all, select this column. I'll go here and click on remove duplicates. So wherever the complete row is a duplicate, based on that, it is gone. Now, if I go here and remove duplicates, what will happen? You can see there are multiple countries which belong to Latin America and Caribbean part. There are multiple countries which belong to Eastern Europe. Okay, there are countries which belong to Western Europe, I think only one. Okay, so some places we have repetition. So if I remove this, I mean, if I just go up here and say remove duplicates, look at that. But this is not the right thing to do, right? It is removing the duplicates, but this is not the right thing to do. Because under one region, we could have multiple countries. So removing the duplicates based on this column is something wrong. And this code that you're looking at here, what do we call this? This piece of code that is coming up over here, as with every action that I perform. Yesterday I told you this is called M language, which is Microsoft's language. All right. So this step which I performed, I'm not happy about it. How do I undo it? Okay. Remember, Power BI keeps a track of each and everything that we do here. The Power Query editor is tracking our steps. Next time you open it, these steps will run in that same sequence. So I'm going to remove this one thing. Okay, this step I would like to delete. By clicking on the cross mark, it gets deleted. And you can see it's back. I removed that step. So duplicates are removed from where? Only from the country, where the country was duplicated. I hope you'll understood till here. We can remove certain number of rows from the top. We can remove rows which are into errors. We can remove duplicates. Some random data at the bottom, if any, you can remove. Then let us look at the columns and the data types. This is fine. Here I would like to change. How do you change the data type? Click on the data type icon and change it. I'll make it text. This is text. Population is fine. Literacy %. So this is literacy percent, right? However, 42 is given here. 42 means it is 42%. Okay, this is 86.5%. This is 97%. But the data type is decimal. Data type is decimal. What will happen if I change it to percentage? In this case, whenever you change the data type of a field to percentage, it will get multiplied by 100 and then percent symbol is associated. This is not correct. It is not 4200%. It is not 9700%, right? So here, changing the data type is not correct. Leave it as decimal. Now, I made a mistake by changing it to percentage. Now I'm trying to revert it and convert it back to decimal. So because I'm changing the same feature twice, first I made it a percentage, which is the data type, and then now I'm making it a decimal again. So it's saying, do you want to replace the current step or would you like to add it as a new step? If I say add as a new step, changed type two times. First, if I go back, it is, see, here it was like this. Then I come to this step where I changed it to percentage. Then the next step is we again changed it back to decimal. Unnecessary, right? All these are not required. So any step that is not required, you can cancel it and cancel it. Because these steps, remember, it will run through. These steps will run in the same sequence. So any unnecessary step over here, you can remove it. And at any point of time, you can go back to the previous step and see what your data looked like. Before that step, what did my data look like? Okay, before promoting the headers, what was it like? It was like this. Before promoting the headers, up to this remove top rows. Navigation. Top rows are not removed. Then I removed the top rows. Then I promoted headers. Then I changed the type. Some data types have been appropriately assigned. Then errors I removed. This step removed the errors. And then I removed duplicates using this step. So the beauty or the very interesting thing which Power BI is doing here is, because it keeps a track of the steps and because we can revisit those steps, we can see the state of our data prior to the application of a certain step. Okay, I reached here, but what was the stage of my data when I was here? How did it look like when I was over here? How did it look like when I was over here? So you can actually go back and get a preview of what your data looked like, and after each step, how it is changing. Okay, so you can track, you can trace back, and you can see everything clearly. Now, I understood that changing the data type of a field to percentage will actually lead Power BI to multiplying it with 100 and then putting a percent sign. And it is not correct to do so in this context. So I will leave it. Whereas here, if you notice the last, these three columns, it is the revenue of these countries, okay, of whatever total GDP, let's consider GDP, the total GDP or the total revenue of each country. From where is it coming? Which paying sectors? If you notice this data closely, right? This one, then for multiple selection, you have to hold down the control key and select, hold down the control key and select. So if you look at the data here, summation of these three values is 100. So of the total whatever revenue that particular country has, how is it split? How much of it is coming from the agriculture sector? How much of it is coming from the industry sector? And how much of it is coming from the service sector? So if you add these three numbers, it's 100%. It's perfectly good to show these as percentages. And they are stored as decimals. So even if I go ahead and after selecting everything, you can right click and change the data type from the menu that comes up. Or you can go up here and change the data type up here. You see data type, you can change it from here also. Or you could just right click and change it from here also. If I change it to a percent, you see now, this is perfect. No problem at all over here. And you can see that towards the end, there is a column 12, which is completely null. And I don't need this column. So you can select the column that is not necessary, go up to the ribbon, manage columns group is there. So there are groups here, okay, that there is transform group, This whole thing split, all this is transform group, combine group, sort group, reduce rows group, manage columns group. This is table, query group and all. So I need to remove the columns. If I click here, the column will be removed. If I click down here, it's going to give me two options. Remove that column or remove the other columns. When you have only few columns that you need and other columns have to be removed, you can just click on remove other columns. Everything else is gone, only column 12 is kept. But again, this is not correct. So I will just undo that by deleting the step. Go here. Select the column first of all. Okay, go to remove columns and say, just remove that particular column. It's gone. Okay, that column is gone. Right. Now, here, look at this column, OF. It is not very clear what is O and what is F. So I would like to rename this column. How to rename a column? Just double click on it. It becomes editable. This is observed or forecast. Whether it's the observed value or is it a forecasted value? O means observed, F means forecast. So changing the name of the column is fine, but I would like to change the values also. Instead of simply giving O and F, let's say I want to give the full name, observed, the full name, forecast. Okay, so I'm trying to again transform the data in this column. So we go up to the transform group, wherein there is an option to replace values. Replace existing values in the currently selected column with the specified new value. So when I click here on replace values, value to find O. Value to find is O. In this column, find O and replace it with observed. Let's see what will happen. Nothing happened. I said replace O with observed and it did not replace because it is case sensitive. O here is capital letter and the one that I typed was small, lowercase. So I'll just go to this step, click on this settings button, this gear icon, and then I will edit it. I will say capital letter O, uppercase. Okay, now it is successfully done. I will again click on replace values. This time I'll take F and replace it with forecast. Okay, so this is also replaced. I'm happy with my data here. Next, so we are basically talking about transformation, different transformation options that we have. Now, if you look at this column, which is having date, the date is stored like this. In some places, you can see that we only have the year. And in certain places, you can see that we have the name of the month, the day, a comma, and the year. So this is year 900. This is year 1965. Okay, this is year 2000. So on and so forth. Now, let's say I would like to have a separate column with year in it. I want a separate column with the year in it. Now, how do I do it? Okay, that's my next step. So for this, I will go up to the transform option on the menu, which opens the transform ribbon. Over here, to work with text columns, where the data type is marked as text, right? To work with text columns, we have a group of options. First, I will try to do whatever I'm trying to achieve using extract. Extract characters from text values is what it will do. So what is my intention? I need the year part. So I'll go up here and look at what we have. We have 7 different options here. Length. Suppose I say extract length. It will simply calculate the length of the string. So the first one, before, I'll just go a step above, okay? 1925, length is 4. If I come here, length is 3. If I come here, April 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, let's go back to that length thing. See, 13, 4, 3. So that is what? extract length will do, it will give you the length of that string, length of the data in that text field. So I'm going to undo that by deleting the step. Let me go back. Extract, let's try range. Okay, extract first characters. So let's say I want 5 characters from the beginning. So what will it do? It will just give you 5 characters. If they are available, wherever they are not there, it's giving you whatever is there. But again, this is not our intention, so I'll just close it. Extract range. So you can specify the starting index and also the number of characters you would want to extract. So let's say starting at the 3rd position, 3, I want to extract 5 characters from there on. Now let's focus on what it's going to extract. I'm saying starting from 3, 5 characters. So will it bring from C for December, 5 characters? Okay, or will it bring from E and give me EMBER? What will it bring? CEMBE or EMBER? Okay, let's see. EMBER. I hope you all understood. So when I say position starting from index 3, it actually goes to the 4th place. Remember that, okay? It picks from the 4th character onwards. Starting from 3 means it picks from the 4th character onwards. Starting from 2 means it picks from the 3rd character onwards. Okay. So let me just edit that step by clicking on the gear icon. Now, I will change this to 2. I will change the starting index number to 2 from start. So what will it do? Let's see. CEMB from December. I hope you all understood. So this you need to be careful about. What are you giving as the starting position? From the next place onwards, it will extract the data for you. Now this is also not correct. I'll close it. Another option we have is to bring text before or after or between the delimiters. So here there is a comma. Let us assume that comma is our delimiter and we want everything after the comma. Suppose I want everything after the comma for the year. So I'll click on text after delimiter. And the delimiter is a comma. Delimiter is a comma. I want text after the delimiter. Now what will happen? Let's see. Wherever we had a comma and then here it is coming. But what about the places where I had only the year? Obviously that will not come. So this also did not work. I'll close it. Means delete that step. So what I will do is I will say extract the last 4 characters. Because if you look at the data in here, the last 4 characters, 3 or some places we have only 3, that's okay. But wherever you have 4 characters, it is basically the year. So I can just say last characters and give 4. You can see perfectly the year part is what I have obtained. But you can also notice that the original column is gone. Date was my column, whatever I had in this column. So let me go a step above. This is gone. I extracted the last 4 characters using the extract feature and all I have is this. The previous one is gone. Okay. Now what if you might want to retain the existing column, the date field as is, but pull out the year part and store it as a separate field? There are ways of doing it, but I will show you a very simple way. What I will do is go a step above and create a copy by duplicating it. Okay, just right click on the column. I will right click on the column and I'm going to duplicate the column. So once I say duplicate, a copy of this column will be created. However, remember that followed by that, we have a step which is working with this data. So when you insert a step between 2 steps, you insert some additional step above, it will give you a message that you're trying to insert a new step. It might have an effect on the subsequent steps. It could cause your query to break. Whatever you have done, it might go wrong. But here I'm confident about what I am doing. I'm just creating a duplicate. I'm not making change here. So I'll say, no, go ahead and insert. So a copy is created and kept over here, duplicated. It has no effect on my extracted data. Okay, so now my date column is intact. Copy was created and it is stored towards the end, but my date column is still intact, which means when I go to the next step, you see, it applied that step and it's giving me what I needed. Okay, I hope you'll understood. Now, I will change this to year. You call this year, and I also change the data type of this to a whole number. Like this, you can transform your data. These are just basics of transformation. We just looked at extract under the transform ribbon. Tomorrow when we meet, we will be looking at split option also. Okay, how do I split and get certain data that I need? Then we will look at a lot of other options, pivot, unpivot, etc. All right, so we have very less time. I don't want to start anything new. So I will make sure that this file is shared with you all before tomorrow's session. In the live session itself, we will share the link with you all, so you can go to that link and download the file. All right. Okay, so now let me quickly have a look at the questions. It needs company email. No, Neetu, you don't need company email because we are not working on Power BI Pro. For Power BI Pro, you need the email. You just close that window which asks you to provide the email. You just start working with desktop. Today also I had shown in the beginning of the session, same thing. What's the difference between add and add new? It will add as a separate column. So you retain it, and I think it is pretty straightforward. No? What add new will do and what replace will do. Yeah, we can remove errors and null values based on columns and rows. Okay, Padmini. Like data science internship, do we have anything for Power BI too? No, Padmini, we don't have. Yeah, we could have used split by here. I agree. We could have used split by, but today I'm not planning on demonstrating split by. That is why I have used extract. My intention was to explain about how extract works. Okay, tomorrow I will talk about split also. There are many ways of doing it. You can also add column, and you can do it from custom column, from examples also you can do it. Okay, but here my intention was to explain about extract. I hope you got my point. No, there will be no certificate provided for this training. Can we bring website data and Tableau also? Yes, we can bring. In Tableau, you have OData and web data connected. Using one of those two, you can bring data from web into Tableau. What skills needed for data analytics, and give a roadmap? So the skills needed for data analytics, you should know SQL, basic SQL you should know. You should know how to work with Excel. You should know how to work with either Power BI or Tableau. If you know both, then wonderful. You should know data visualization with Python. Okay, and how to do data pre-processing using Python. So these are mandatory skills for a data analyst. Okay, Balaji, I hope it's clear. SQL, Excel, Python, either Tableau or Power BI, preferably both. Okay, WhatsApp group, we'll take it into consideration. We have, I think, okay, for SQL and Excel we had. For Power BI, I don't know, I'll check. All right, thank you all so much. Please do subscribe to our channel. I'm sure all of you have already done. Anybody who's new, please do subscribe. It gives us a lot of motivation to come up with many such courses for you all. When you all subscribe and like the videos and share it with your friends too. So it would be of great help. And what are the tools you're going to teach? You can talk to our career counselors. You can talk to people at 360DigiTMG. Okay, we have courses on data science. We have courses on data analytics. Under those also, there are different variants. Okay, whatever you are interested in, Satya, you could go ahead and contact the team and get an idea about it. So we have already done free programs on SQL, free program on advanced Excel. Now this is a free program on Power BI. There are videos on Tableau also present. Python sessions are happening during the weekend, so you can attend those live sessions as well. Okay. So a lot of things are happening on YouTube and a lot of advanced things are happening in the paid sessions. So depending on what level of expertise you are aiming at, you can enroll for the program. Okay, will you start course after 10 days course? Sandeep, I'll connect with you offline. Okay, I'll connect with you offline and tell you. All right. Okay, thank you all so much. Then we'll end the meeting here. Please do subscribe to the channel and please do hit the like button if you found the session informative. May or may not be interesting, right? But I'm sure you would have found it informative and it would be of great inspiration if you can share it with others too.